In girl world, Halloween is the one night a year when a girl can dress like a total slut and no other girls can say anything about it. In girl world, Halloween is the one night a year when a girl can dress like a total slut and no other girls can say anything about it.
I think in that particular movie, I think it does a great job of showing how it's like the double bind. It doesn't matter. If you wear a costume that's not sexy, if you wear a costume that's sexy, you will be judged either way. Oftentimes, women's costumes are intended to display as opposed to disguise. With costumes marketed to boys and men, oftentimes you see far more opportunity for disguise, far more full body coverage, lots of elements like humor and gore, superheroes. You see lots of sort of agency being displayed. In terms of how we were identifying what was perceived as sexy, some of that came down to costume markers related to skin, amount of skin display, tightness of the clothing. But we also looked at other elements, and we looked particularly at two sort of subsets of objectification. So these two subsets of objectification are infantilization and sexualization. Infantilization tends to be associated with innocence, pigtails, little circles on the cheeks, bows, pastel pink colors and polka dots. Things like, it's called the bashful knee, toes turned in or one knee turned in, this sort of like coy posing, right? Covering the mouth, hugging yourself. They're really passive poses where the body's sort of closed off, as opposed to costumes marketed to boys and men, where often we would see postures like sort of strong stance, fists up, legs apart and solidly on both feet. And the ways that we coded for sexiness or sexualization were related to, elements of extreme glamour, corsets, accentuated cleavage, as well as the postures of the models, which might look like chest sticking out or eyelids half closed, mouth open, hands on the hips. What we saw in adult women's costumes was predominantly sexualization. The most concerning result we had was the greatest combination of infantilization and sexualization happens with costumes marketed to teen and tween girls. The costume has a corset, but the corset has polka dots, right? The costume has fishnet leggings, but they're pink. I don't believe that anyone should be told how to dress. I believe you should be allowed to wear what you want. It's about having the options and having knowledge of the options, because if you don't know, and the only thing you see are people wearing a particular type of costume, then you may not know that there are other options and ways of being. And so I really think it's not about not being sexy. It's about what does sexy mean to you? Those pervasive messages can result in some of the most common mental health concerns that we see in girls and women: eating disorders and eating disorder behavior, which are two different things. Body monitoring, self-esteem issues. This can end up relating to issues of depression and anxiety. I would say these costumes are a symptom of the culture. It's not really the other way around. So I'm not trying to make the claim that somehow if we change the way that costumes look, we're going to change the way the culture is. It's more complicated than that. If you are someone who tends toward the costumes marketed to women and girls, what would it be like to look at what's on the other side of that aisle, to expand possibilities, to create your own costume? If you're unsatisfied with the options that you see, to reach out to the companies providing those options and let them know that there's a demand.